Good morning. It is May 12th, and we're almost at 8:30. We have news coming out this morning. So I'm already in Russell. I got in earlier on a buy, 2 contracts. There's the news candle start that just wicked us out. So I am going to drop it down to a 15-second time frame. So I was in long, took a small loss there, got in short, just took a loss because the news popped. So I got in off the power trade indicator, and then things didn't pan out, right? It just shot up, and that's typical news. So right now it looks like it's going to go bearish. So we're going to get in light with 2 contracts, and we'll go ahead and put a stop up here. Not going to take too big of a, we'll put it right there. So I'm not going to go, I'm just going above this high right here. The other would be to come up over the 4-hour time frame and keep your stop there. So I'm going in lightly. We'll see how things kind of settle in. Again, we are on the 15-second time frame, and it is 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. So we'll see what happens here. We have a huge candle there. You could drop down to a 5-second, kind of see how it went. But basically, there it was just a 1-second candle that shot up and back down. Okay, so we'll see how this kind of pans out. We're trying to get in a little early, and that's what I did earlier. I was already in short off the power trade indicator, and it looks like it's going short. It's just I had a tight stop on there because of news, and of course it popped up and took me out. So during news, it is a riskier time to trade, so you may want to consider going in light on your contracts, okay? Anytime you have a little riskier setup, it's not your A-plus setup, then you're going to go in lighter with contracts. Now for us, we're watching the 3 bars on the bottom, which I have set on the 5-minute. Right here on the bottom, okay? I've got it more of a scalping mode. So I have it on a 5-minute time frame as the top bar. The middle is a 15-minute time frame, and then the bottom is the 1 hour. So we're looking to trade with those trends. We're looking, even though we're down on a 3-minute time frame, typically, and then we'll drop to a 1-minute or 15-second during news. Well, we want to trade in the direction of the higher time frames, which in this case is a 5, 15, and a 1 hour for more of a day trading or scalping situation, okay? So when we get into 3-minute, that's ones we would expect to hold. And the thing is that with the futures market, of course, you're closing out your trades, and so you're not going to have them on all day. But you can typically, we would do a 15-minute, a 1 hour, and a 4 hour on there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this low right here. Okay, so we're marking that low. We're looking for that to be broke. This line right here that I have, I'll go ahead and change it to yellow. I'll show you where I got this from. So typically, you want to trade during a market session, okay? And the busiest is right now. So we have the U.S. market getting ready to open up. U.S. stock market opens up in an hour. The Forex market, just opened up recently, and then we have news here at 8:30. So with that being said, we also have the London boys. So we have the London market where they're coming back from lunch right now, okay? It is 1:33 in London right now. So I have my watch set to where it shows New York time and London session. So over in London, it's 1:33 p.m. right now. So they're just coming back from lunch. So we have that overlap of the Euro boys and us here in the U.S. trading. And it's not really us as retail traders because we don't move the market. It is the hedge funds, the market makers, the big banks, the government entities that trade. So, that's what moves the market. So we're just here to get a piece of that. So that being said, we don't trade. I don't like to trade before 7:30. So if we put the lines on the chart, I don't know if those are set to show. They won't show on the 15-minute. I have to go to a 1 hour for them to scoot. There's 7:30 right there. So that first line right here is a 7:30 line, okay? And that's when I look to start trading at 7:30. Sometimes I'll take some before, but typically not. So there's 7:30. That's why I took this buy over here. We had a buy signal. So at 7:30, we had a buy signal after that, and the buy signal was when? Well, the buy signal was when it went over or through the indice closed, Russell closed on the other side of the 4-hour support and resistance level. So I thought, oh, this is great. And I went ahead and bought. I went in lightly, right, because it's early in the morning and session still hasn't really started. So I went in with 2 contracts, took a small loss, don't really care about that. Then I shorted here with 2 contracts because we had a sell signal, right? It fell back through the 4-hour time frame, had a sell signal, took the sell, and then, of course, I have a small loss on that, and that's because it shot up. That's because of the news candle. So I knew I was taking a chance by having that on before news, but I was okay with that. Now, why didn't I have a 10 contract? Because normally on these accounts here, on the smaller ones, I'm putting 10 contracts on. And my partial closing is either 8 or 9. Well, because of news coming up. So with news coming up at 8:30, I went in lighter. I went in with 2 contracts only, willing to take that loss. No big deal. That's part of your trading. That should be part of your strategy. You have to know when the fundamentals come out. So it's great to be a technical trader, and use the charting and look for, bearish and bullish patterns and the bounces off the 4-hour and everything else. But you have to know when news is coming out, because ultimately it can wreck your trade, just like that one. I had on short, sell signal. It went short. I was up like $17, not enough to even pay for a meal. So it's nothing I was gonna close, and I was hoping that news would just pop and it would go down, and it still may. However, during that first initial news candle, it popped up and took me out. So again, you go in lighter. You know news is coming out. You got to be smart about it, okay? And that's what we do. So looking back at this yellow line right here, if you go back, there's a couple lows right. There's a low right here, okay, where that is from. And that's what I marked earlier. So I marked this one earlier because it had tapped here as well. So I marked this low right there, and that's around where it was. Of course, news candle shot up, shot down, and shot to this level, and that's kind of where we're hanging out. So we pulled back to the 1, and now it looks like it may be, it's pulled down here. We'll see if it tests this and if it moves short. So all we can do now is just wait. These lines I have, I'll leave them on, but just know when I go lower than a 1 minute, these lines show up as multiples in one area when I go to 15 seconds. So basically I have a line that comes up at 7:30. There's a line that comes up at 9:30, start of the U.S. session, U.S. stock market, and then one that comes up at noon to stop trading, and then one that comes up at 4 o'clock to think about closing out trades for the day. So that's what the line indicator is. Now, I've got 3 charts set up for a little bit later, and where we've got the ORB strategy on there for those trading the opening range breakout. So I'm going to show you a few different things. You don't have to have one strategy under your belt, but you don't want to, you still have to be smart about that, right? You're not going to bounce back and forth with trading. So we have the power trade indicator. That's going to be my ultimate that I like to trade in the direction of the higher time frames, okay? And then that being said, if we want to trade a opening range breakout strategy when the U.S. stock market opens, well, then we switch to that. The other thing we do is Sunday nights, we'll do gap trading. So Sunday night, when the market opens, if you look at where the market closes on Friday, look at where the market opens up on Sunday, a lot of times there's a gap. And most of the times, not all, that gap gets filled. So if, Friday the market closes here, and then Sunday night the market opens up way above it, well, then a lot of times it'll go short. Now, it may open up and go long for a little bit and then start to turn and go short. So you still have to watch structure there. And you're going to look for that sell structure. You're going to look for lower lows, lower highs, and then say, okay, now I'm going to trade for that to that gap. Your target's that gap, that close of Friday. And that's how you do the gap trading. So it's just another trading strategy that you can add to your toolbox. So that happens. How many Sundays are there in a year? Okay. So we have 52 weeks in a year. There's 52 Sundays in a year. So guess how many gap trades you can take? 52. Okay. What you want to do is open up a spreadsheet, number it down 1 to 52, and label it as gap, and trade that every week, and then see how you do at the end of the year. So I always tell people to commit. Don't go half in. Don't sit there and go, okay, this Sunday I'm going to trade that gap fill, okay? And then we'll see how it goes. And you take a loss next Sunday, okay? So then you're like, well, I'm not going to do it. And you don't do it the following Sunday, but you would have had a profitable trade. You look at it and go, man, it did fill the gap. If I would have traded, I would have a profitable trade. And then you trade the next week, say, okay, I'll do it next week. You do it next week, and you have a loss. You just so happen you have another loss. Well, now you're gun shy again. You go, okay, I won't go next week. And the next week, you don't trade it, and it's a winner. It fills the gap. And then the following week, you don't trade it because you're like, man, I know this. I know this game. And you don't trade it, and then it fills the gap again, and you didn't take it. Well, then after 2 times it did, you're going to jump back in. So what you have to do is when you find a strategy, you have to stick to it. You have to say, this is what I'm, back test it, look at it, decide if you want to do it. And then if you decide you want to do it, then just do it. You have to make a decision, and you have to stick to that. So you have to say, okay, I don't care what it is, guys. If you wait a year, 6 months, 3 months, I wouldn't just do it 2 weeks. You're going to say, you know what? I like the idea of this gap trade on Sundays. I'm going to do it for 3 months and just see where I'm at. I'm going to back test it first, see how it looks. Looks good to you. And then you go, okay, I'm going to try this for 3 months. Ultimately, you'd want to go at least a year and track that. Demo first, always. And then, and then you can go live. So again, for me, on the 1 minute, let me turn that back on. And that's what I was getting to earlier is we will get a lot of mixed signals. Okay. See how we got a lot of buys and sells in here? And we even have some here too. That's because the market is consolidated. It's not busy. There's not volume. Okay. So guess what? We don't trade these signals. We're not trading in on these sells and buys and sells and buys. And you look and say, well, if I would take that sell, it would have been profitable. I would have closed partial, had my runners, move stop to break even, boom. But then look at all these. We're not trading during that time. You can actually take the indicator and shut that off. Okay. So you can go into the indicator and have it only show signals. I've got this set to 0 right there. Okay, 0 to 2400 hours. So it is set to stay on during the whole entire session, entire day right here. If you shut that off and go to the New York session, guess what? Notice the change? Okay. So again, here's entire day where it shows everything. Shows all the back and forth. And again, you just have to know I'm not getting in during that time. It's out of my trade session. If you can't hold yourself accountable, if you can't, if you're, oh, I woke up at 5 this morning and I jumped in and out and caught some losses. Well, you shouldn't have been trading. It's outside of the market time. So outside the market time, we don't expect volume. We need volume to step in to move the instruments, right? So volume has to step in to move instruments. So we're trading outside of volume here. So you're going to have losses. So again, with the indicator, the original way it was set up was this right here. New York session only. Okay? And it has back shading over here, which you can turn that off as well. But right now, you'll notice it took all the buys and sells away in here. Okay? There's the first buy. So there's your signal. So it's that, 8 a.m. I know it says 12 here, but that's the way the setup is on this. So basically, that is the New York session. If you're wanting to see New York, London, and Asian session for the evening, you're going to do that. Turn them on. But again, we have a New York and London overlap. So what I would suggest doing is only turning on the first 3 hours. So if you're going to trade London, turn this on and change this right here. Change the end time, okay? Because you really only want the first 3 to 4 hours of the market. And typically the first 3 of each session are the busiest. So the first 3 hours of the U.S. stock market, or the U.S. session, the first 3 hours of the Asian session, the first 3 hours of the London session, those are the busiest times, okay? And that's what you want to trade. So again, if you can't hold yourself accountable, if you have all these on to show all day, and you can't hold yourself accountable to stay out, then shut that off. Shut off the all day and just leave it on today, okay? And then as you'll see, we're just getting into trades then. Sorry, guys, I'm thinking right now. I want to run that down to 0, so the background would stay highlighted for the session, but if you run this down to 0, it won't show, and I don't want it showing. So we'll leave it like that. We'll leave it on today's. So we're just looking to take trades. Again, for me, it's at 7:30 mark. Now, I had it set to all day, and it did have a buy signal right here, and that's the one I took. But again, for me, it's after that 7:30 mark. Looks like we're going to take a little loss on this one. Again, that's part of why we got in on light on contracts. And then ultimately, I'm going to switch today. So I'm trying to show a few different things at one time. And this is where you're going to be adaptive to the market. So that's our trade line up. We get sell signals, we're looking to sell. So you're looking to sell on pullbacks, and then we would draw a trade line or retracement line here from this low right here, which would be that one, to this low. Where did I draw it from? Right here. And then ultimately we're looking for that to break. So you look for a break or retest to that trend line. Ultimately, right now, it's coming back up to the 4 hours. So I have my stop kind of tight. I could see it wicking up. See this area right here? And actually, we have that area right here, too. So to keep my stop safe, and I'll draw one in, this right here, let me take this off. We'll pop a stop line here, stop marker. So ultimately, this would be a better spot to have my stop way up here, right? Above this high here, this wick, and then these highs in here. So ultimately, this would be the best place to have my stop. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if I'm taken out or not. And we're getting what we typically will get on news. You'll typically get it pop one way, pop the other. So, it popped up. So basically the candle itself, where it opened and closed, we have the body of the candle here coming down, movement down, and then we're just retracing back to where it started during the news release. So we'll see what happens in here. It's going to be pinched out. So it's going to be a time crunch in here, or time pinch, where right now it's retraced back. It's more moving sideways in here than anything, kind of consolidated in here. So between the 4 hour line and this retracement line. So eventually it has to go somewhere. It's either going to pop through the top, it's going to pop through the retracement line, pop down, and then of course if it pops either one, we always look and hope to see a retracement. So if it pops here, we would look to see it come down, test the 4-hour line and go. And then opposite of that was if it would test or break the retracement line, we would look for it to come back here. And what's it doing if it stops here or comes back up to here? Well, if it comes back up to here, it's testing this 4-hour support resistance level, but it's also testing this high that we recently made, okay? And then we would look for that to go short then, either short to this low. And what is at this low? All right. If you just think for a minute, and I'll tell you, not going to make you wonder. All right, so we have this low right here. So we have the low right here where this arrow is. It is at the inside bottom of the previous move. So this swing down right here, and it turned, okay, the inside of that bottom. This is what they call inside bottom. So you have a swing down, swing up. The inside of that bottom is right there. Basically, these two candles, the small ones, doesn't matter where you draw the line. It almost, didn't quite hit there. But it came down to test that. So once it moved up and made a little higher high than these two highs in here, then it came down and tested that area before moving on. So you're always looking to see where things turn. And it's key to note not just lows and highs, but you'll have your inside tops and bottoms as well to notice. And that's something you should be aware of. Because if it goes up and comes back down and turns at that inside bottom, what has it made? Okay, so it's come down and made a low here. And then as it comes back down and it again turns at the inside bottom, the inside of that low, what has this done? Well, it's made a higher low. Okay, came down, made a big bullish engulfing candle right here. That's a bullish candle engulfing that. Now, I am on a 1-minute time frame. So we don't hold a lot of weight in candle patterns on a 1-minute time frame, but they do pan out. They just don't always pan out. But ultimately, it turned there at that inside bottom, and that in doing so, made a higher low. And that's what we want to see. If you're looking to trade long, you're looking at higher highs, higher lows. So if you're in a bullish market, you want to see higher highs, higher lows. If you're in a bearish market, we don't want to see higher highs, higher lows. So if we're in a bearish market, we're getting sell signals, the higher highs and higher lows is basically retracing for us, okay, until we get that buy signal. Now, we've already got the 2 time frames, okay, and remember these are set up on a more of a scalp setting, and you can go lower than this. I've got a 5, 15, and a 60. So the 5-minute and the 15-minute are green. The 5-minute's been green for a while as it's been retracing. The 15-minute just turned green, so it's not looking good for our trade because it may pull through. I'm going to leave that stop marker on there, and I'm actually going to draw another where my stop is right here. So if I'm taking out, we'll see the difference, okay? It probably won't let me click on that because my stop's right in the way. Let me move it up out of the way for a second. I'll move it back down. So this is where my stop is, and we'll move it back. So we want to see, and it's okay to do this. Like look at the difference, okay? And you want to do stuff like this with your stops, with your targets, and look and say, well, right now as it pulled back, I looked, and we said that earlier when it was down over here as it's pulling back, is my stop too close? And I went back and looked and showed you over here, okay, and here, and this area here saying, well, my stop would be better placed way up there out of the way, okay? Now that means you're taking a bigger loss, and I just didn't want to take that big of a loss today. And again, it's smaller loss for me because I'm only putting 2 contracts on. Why do I only put 2 contracts on? Again, it's a riskier time to trade. It's during a news release. So you have to be smart about your trading. riskier trades, less contracts. I don't know how else to put it. I see so many people there. Nope, I always trade. I always put on 20 contracts. Well, why? If you got an A+ setup, yes, put on 20 contracts. If you got a B setup, or, you're not going to put on 20 contracts, or you shouldn't, So a B contract, you don't put on 20 contracts. You put on 14 or 15 or 10. In a C contract, you put on less than a B contract. So you guys have to decide that for yourself. There's no set rule, but let's say you do put on 10 contracts for an A+ setup. So put on 10 contracts for an A+ setup. Anything less than that, maybe you trade with 5 or less. And that's your rule. That's a rule you make up. That's a rule you stick to. If you can't stick to your rules, write them on a piece of paper, write them on a sticky note on your monitor, your keyboard. I don't care if you come in here and put the notes in here. You can do it like this. You can come in and grab the text tool and come in and write whatever you want. Okay, come in and put your rules down, what rule 1 is, what rule 2 is, and then put that up in the corner of your chart, whether you want it here, middle chart, whatever, and hit the anchor button. And then it's going to stay. It is not going to move. So you can move your chart around and it will stay there. Okay? And if that's what you have to do, then do it. If that's what you have to do to stick to your rules, then put them on there. I don't have it on here now. I'd have to go find it, but there's a couple tools out there where you can get them. There are indicators that are out there, and you can put text in there. And we've made that one up that has rules for your trade, and it pops it up here on the side. You can select, top, right, center, bottom, or over here on the left or center. You can select where you want it, and it pops all the rules. So I've already wrote out the rules in there for the different trade strategies. You put it on there and leave it. But if that's what it takes for you, then do it. And you can't move this. Like if you select it, it will not let you, it will let you move it. I didn't think it would while it was anchored. Oh, it's locked. Anchor and lock. So if you anchor and lock it, it won't move. That's what it is. So if you click anchor and lock, it will not move. If you just click the anchor, then it stays anchored while you move your charting, but you can still move it. So again, put it wherever you want and just have your rules on the chart. Because if you can't stick to your rules, and while you're trading is not the time to try and modify your rules. It's always after. It's always after your day of trading. You want to look back and figure out how you can trade or change your rules and modify them at that. Modify them. You have to have reasons for modifying your rules. Don't do it on the fly. And we're I'm about stopped out, and we're a little over $50. That's why I put my, stop kind of where it was. Wasn't really willing to lose even $100 on this. So I still got to watch the time. We're just now at 9 o'clock. And the dog wants to play. Do you need something? What? What? So right now it looks like that 4 hour might hold. We'll see. So again, remember I said we're in that time crunch when it was over here, where we'd see the time has to push it somewhere. So it's over here, and it wasn't willing to break the 4 hour support and resistance level yet. So we didn't get it break to the high side. We didn't get it to pop and break to the low side through that. It's a time push. It has to go somewhere. Okay, as each candle ticks by, it's going sideways. Okay, if it doesn't push out through the top, doesn't push out through the bottom, it's moving sideways. There are 3 trends in the market. A lot of people think there's only two trends in the market. There's an uptrend, there's a downtrend, there's a sideways trend. And right now we're in that consolidated area or sideways movement after the news release. So basically, news release, wicked up, pulled back down. It actually opened up this candle here. So we had a little bit of a slippage when, we had this green candle close here. And when the next candle opened up, it actually opened up right there. That's the opening price. Okay, right at the 4 hour. So that was the opening price. So we had a little slippage there or gap when it opened up, shot down, and then ultimately it's been slowly retracing back. That news was at 8:30. So we've been sitting here for half an hour and just nothing. And we're okay with that. And then again, we're going to wait till a little before 9:30. And I'm going to show you a little different than what I did yesterday. So, some people are trading that ORB strategy. We talked about it yesterday. There's a video out. And you have to decide what time frame you want to do with it. Some people wait. A lot of people wait either 15 minutes or half an hour, okay, for the opening range break. And it's on the U.S. stock market. So U.S. stock market, again, a lot of traders will wait 15 minutes. So they mark 9:30 to 9:45, and then they trade with a break, or it depends on your rules again. What are your rules? Do you trade on a break and a retest of that broken high or low? Or do you just trade when it breaks it? The candle closes outside the high or low. That's your rule. You have to set it up. And again, if you have trouble following your rules, put them up here. Okay, write them down. And then ultimately, too, other people wait half an hour. They'll wait till 10 o'clock. They'll let a half hour go by. U.S. stock market opens at 9:30. They'll let it kind of move around for a bit for that half an hour, and then they mark the high and low and look for a breakout. Now, there's other people that go a little more aggressive that do a 5-minute, okay? So what we looked at yesterday was the 3-minute time frame. So I'm going to show it a little different today than I did yesterday. Yesterday, I had the indicator on the chart and kind of changed the settings so you can see the difference in the 3-minute, the 15, and half an hour. Today, I'm actually going to have 3 charts up. So there would be your entry. We're getting a sell signal. Okay, so it broke the trend line, pulled back up the backside of the trend line to test the backside of the trend line as resistance, and also, again, that 4-hour time frame as resistance. So it looks like we may be getting that. We do have a low here that, we'll see if that gets broke. And if you look to the left, always look to the left. We have a low right here we're watching. See if it breaks that. But if we look to the left, we see that line. If we were to move it back here, that's another area. Okay, it came down, respect that, and hung out for a while. So do we expect it to plow through this area? No, we don't. Can it? Sure. Go back over here. Sideways movement in that area. So it looks like it's going to break and run. We're hoping. We're not even back to break even. So this is where you would get in. Now, if I'm going to add to my position, which I'm going to, I would do it now. So I'm going to add 2 contracts. You're allowed to do it once. So I'm just doubling up. I'm putting on 2 more contracts. I'm still not going in heavy on this. Okay. But you're allowed to add to a negative position 1 time with most of the prop firms. And that's because they realize that is some of the strategies out there. So for me, one of them is if we break an area. So let's say it would have come up and broke this 4-hour time frame and a candle closed above it. Then you could go in long with 2 contracts, okay? But then if it comes back and retraces and tests it and you get a green candle, well, then you would add to that position because ultimately that's what you're waiting on. So the when it breaks and a candle closes above a level, and you go ahead and buy right then and there, that's your safety trade. You're getting in the trade because you don't want to miss it in case it does not pull back. But ultimately, your trade plan, here's your trade plan. Your trade plan is it breaks a high or it breaks a 4-hour level, okay? And then it comes back and bounces off that 4-hour level. Boom, that's your entry. That's your rules when you're going to take it long. That's your A+ setup. You're going to go with 10 contracts, okay? But we know that sometimes it breaks the level and then just shoots to the moon. It doesn't pull back, and we don't want to miss it. So that's not an A+ setup, though. So what do? Well, you put on 2 contracts or 4. So you put on 2 contracts, and then if it comes back and pulls back and bounces, and now your A+ setup's there, add the other 8 contracts in, okay? Again, you can do it once, and that's your trade plan. That's what you say. You say, you know what? If I get a candle closing past, I don't want to miss the opportunity in case it just breaks and runs. So I'm going to put 2 contracts on. That's my safety trade, so I don't miss it. But however, ultimately, I'm waiting for it to pull back, bounce, give me a green candle. That's my A+ setup. That's when I want 10 contracts on, so you would add the other 8. And that's exactly how you do it. But make your rules, write them down. I see a lot of people that, and I talk to, that they'll sit there and they'll tell you, well, I didn't stick to my rules in this trade. And I don't care what you have to do. Writing them down on a piece of paper. I've got paper all over my, well, not all over my desk, but right here to the left under my coffee cup right now. I don't have my rules wrote down on there. Okay. I've been trading long enough that I know my rules and I don't trade them on the fly. So, but if you're starting out, you need them somewhere. You have to. So I don't care if it's a piece of paper there or if it's sticky notes on your monitor, whatever it is. This to me seems like the smartest right here. Just put it on your screen so you see it every day. So let's say we were going to do, I'm going to set this up while we're waiting, because we got nothing going on right now. All right, so we're going to set up some rules for the 3-minute ORB strategy, opening range break strategy. All right, so first thing we would do is we're looking at the high and low at 9:30. So we're going to mark at 9:30 to 9:33. We're only doing 3 minutes. We're going to look at that high and low. Now, guys, you can do this ahead of time. Not really ahead of time marking that, but we can come in here with the horizontal line, and right now that says 9:17. Okay? So we can move this over to where it says 9:30. Just go ahead and stick a vertical line there and say, okay, I need to be aware. If you have to label it, come in and label a line. Put a text on it if you need to, label it. I don't, because I have the timestamp on. Okay, so if you have right here this time label on, notice it toggles the time label down there. So it says 9 o'clock. So now I know that when the candles get close to that line, guess what? I got to start getting ready. All right. So what are we going to do? So at basically, we would have it at 9:33 a.m. Okay. And then we're going to mark because at 9:33, we will have a high and a low. So we want to mark the high and the low. Okay. And that would be, that's just our setup. 9:33 a.m., we're going to mark the high and the low. Okay. At the break of, well, let's see, not a break. It would be a break and candle close past the higher low. Okay, so we want a break and a candle close. So we need the candle to close past the higher low. Then we would get in. So let's set this up. We're going to get in. Let's say we're going to go light. We're going to go light. We're going to trade 4 contracts. Okay. But ultimately, we're waiting to see if it pulls back. So if it moves, we really want it to move a little in that one direction and pull back. So this is going to be our safety trade. Okay. So we're going to trade with 4 contracts, and that's going to be our safety trade. That's so we don't miss it. We don't miss the move. We don't want it to move without us. We don't want to sit here all morning and not take anything, not take a trade. I'd rather, like I said, if it comes up and breaks this 4-hour line, I'd rather get in with 4 contracts just in case it just tears through the roof, just starts going, right? Because it's the start of the U.S. stock market. We know it's going to move. So again, start of the U.S. stock market is what we're looking at setting this up for. We know it's going to move, so let's prep for it. And if it breaks through that higher low, then we don't want to miss it if that volatility and volume, because volume is going to step in. Again, start of U.S. stock market, volume will step in heavily. Things will start to move. We get volatility because we get movement. So the volume steps in, we get that volatility, we get that movement. We want to catch part of the move. So we're going to be there. So let's put on 4 contracts, if it breaks. And that way, if it just keeps moving up, because you guys have seen those days. I know you have. I know you've seen days where it breaks a level, a price level, and then it just keeps going up and up and up and up. All green candles, boom, 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 for half an hour. And then all of a sudden you get a little pullback, and then it keeps going up. Well, you miss it, or you're trying to jump on a moving train. And we don't want to do that. So we get in with 4 contracts. But then if it moves up a little, comes back, and we get a bounce, we'll go in with the other 6 is what we're going to do. So we're going to trade with 4 contracts. And where are we putting our stop? So there's different levels. Okay. We're going to place a stop order. So with this, you can have it set up manually or automatic if you want by coming in here, and you'll see right here I've got a stop loss of 40 on here. So I could click that, and if I do that and place the trade, buy or sell, then what it's going to do is it'll put a stop on automatically. And if the stop's not where you want it, watch when it trades. If the stop's not where you want it, then move the stop. Okay, I'll do it manually on this. We're getting another sell signal there, so no big deal, right? It pulled down. So it was a nice little move down. We got a sell signal. Sell signal means sell. It's going short. What did it do? It went short. Okay. It just happened to bounce at that level. Why that level? Well, it's bounced there before, remember? Really, it bounced at that price level here, 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 several times, okay? So it should not surprise you. That's why we're not, you're not kicking yourself. You're not like, man, we had a sell signal, I just sold, and it was that little trade right there was in profit. Should have closed. Guys, you could do that all you want, but you really need to just have a calm, cool, collective attitude, and by drawing your price level points off the lows, which we had, I drew it off this and this. It's not a surprise when it does this. It will not surprise me, right? So it broke that, pulled back up, come down, and it's at that level again. So will it surprise me if it stays sideways for a little bit? No. Will it surprise me if it pulls back up to the 4-hour? No. Okay. What do I want to happen? I don't want either of those to happen, right? I don't want it to hang sideways. I don't want it to pull back to the 4-hour time frame. I want it to break and come down to this inside bottom. That's what I want. But the market doesn't care what I want. Okay? The market's not listening to me. It's not listening to us. It doesn't care what I want. So you, again, have to make your decisions and stick to your own rules that you set. So right now we're in a little positive. It looks like it might be breaking. And we'll just wait it out. So where are we going to put our stop? So with the stop order, there's several places, and we'll go over those. So with the stop order, some traders will place on the stop on the other side of the box. Okay, so if you're getting in long, you place it on low. Some will place at the middle of the box. Those are the two areas. Now, if you're waiting, so let's go over this. We're looking at trading the ORB strategy. I'm still watching time. We're 15 after, so we got 15 minutes. So we're looking at trading the ORB strategy on a 3-minute, just the 3-minute candles. Okay, the first 3-minute candle. And I'm going to have it on a 1-minute time frame, but we're looking at the first 3 candles, just the first 3 minutes. What does it do? The first 3 minutes is stock market. Okay, so we're looking at that to build our box, get our high and low. That's going to be small. It's typically small. So if you put your stop on the other side of the box, guess what? Well, you got a small stop loss. If you wait the first 15 minutes of the stock market, that box is bigger. Okay? If you wait the first half hour of the stock market, the box can be even bigger still. So yesterday when we traded it on the 3-minute, it broke and we went long, and it just kept going long and long and long. By the time the first half hour, 15 minutes went, that box was bigger. And then when it got to the half hour mark, 10 o'clock, whoever was trading and waiting the first half hour out, that box was even bigger still. And I guarantee they were not trading with their stop on the other side of the box. They were probably using the middle. So since we're on a 3-minute time frame, I'm going to use the other side of the box. Okay? That's what I'm going to use. 3-minute time frame, use the other side of the box. If you're doing the 15-minute or the half hour, I would suggest at least going to the middle of the box. And we track this, and when I tested it on all 4 indices, we did NASDAQ, S&P, Russell, and Dow. I tested and looked at where the stop should be placed, other side of the box, halfway, and a quarter stop, quarter of the way back from your entry. Quarter was not profitable. It was about a break even overall. So it was best to go at least halfway. So I want it noted, we just hit the inside bottom here. So target hit, right? Now I only have 4 contracts on. Remember we had 2. We added 2 more on this sell signal. So that was our add-in. I didn't even go in, feel confident enough to go in with the other 8, right? Because typically, again, I use 10. So I am going to move the stop down some. If the price comes down here, let's draw the trade tool. So I'm going to put the trade tool on here just so you can see it. So there's our trade tool that marks, I don't want that. So there's our trade tool that marks our targets. So if you notice where our stop is, 1-to-1 or target level 1 is about here, right to that point. It's a little past. Okay. So what I would want to do is if I'm closing out partial, I would come, first of all, I'd adjust this down to a 3. I would come in here, and we would actually want to put a buy limit of 3 on. I know I'm asking for it to go, just pick the line. Don't go right to that bottom point. Never go exactly to the bottom. And if I was paying attention earlier, I would have put it up here around where that yellow line is. So it would have been hit. So we're not going to get 1-to-1, but I am going to do this. I am going to move my stop down to the halfway point. Okay. And that halfway point is marked on this, the trade tool. That just gives us our targets. That gives us our targets on out. The other day we actually had one that hit all targets, ran out of targets. Okay. So back to this. So we are going to 933. We're going to mark the high, the low. And we're at 20 after, so we're going to get ready here in a little bit. So 933, we're going to mark the high and the low. Okay? We're waiting on a break of a candle, break and candle close past the high or the low, whichever we're in on. We're going to trade with 4 contracts. That's our safety trade. Okay? We're going to put that on in case it breaks and just keeps running. We're going to put our stop order on the other side of the box because we are trading on the 3-minute time frame, so the box will be smaller, so we could take that hit, we could take that loss, okay? And we know that, so that's what we're planning, is to have our stop on the other side of the box. And we don't put it right at the low. You know, if we're getting in long, we don't put it right at the low. You put it a little bit past that, okay? So when I say other side of the box, it's the other side of the box and then a little bit, okay? Now 5, we're going to place a limit order to close partial. Okay? So we're going to place a limit order to close partial at take profit 1. Okay? So in this case, like we get in with the safety trade, we got 4 contracts on, we put our stop loss. You put the limit order down there at the, we're going to go at take profit 1, or you may adjust that, okay, and you could put that down. Let's see, let's do this. So it's okay to adjust it closer. What do I want to put? If a bounce. No, how I want to word it. Okay, so it's basically okay to adjust it closer. And we wouldn't be at the 1-to-1 then. If a bounce is before TP1. Let's just put that. So in this case, since there was a bounce here, okay, we have this bounce here before TP1. It's okay to put that take profit before. Let's put this to other side of the box. Place stop order other side of the box. Place a limit order to close partial at TP1. And the close partial is going to be part of your contract. So we're going to put, again, we're going to put on 4 contracts. So close partial will be 3 contracts in this case. Okay. So again, since we're putting on 4 contracts when it closes past the high or low, we're going to place our limit order and it will be 3 contracts to close partial. And that will automate it. Okay. That's what we want. We want to take us out of the equation. Okay. As humans, we make mistakes. What typically will happen is this right here. I will see it come down here, and I would say to myself, you know what? I know it's at this low. Here's something I hear people say all the time that I hate. I just know it's going to go further. Right? It's down here near our low. Perfect example. I just know it's going to go closer or keep going. And they take that limit order off. Or they never put it on in the first place. Because what will happen is, I'm telling you to put your limit order at 1-to-1. These are rules we're setting up. We need to stick to these rules. We need to close partial. We need to make some profit, right? Why sit here for 3 or 4 hours if we're not going to make a profit, if we're not going to lock in something for the day? So, but I see people all the time. Well, it's at 1-to-1. I'll just move my stop. I won't close partial because I just know it's going to keep going. Well, no, you don't. You would like it to go further. You'd like it to keep, I would love it to keep going down short for the rest of the day. Does that mean it's going to happen? No. Can it happen? Yes. Okay. And if it happens, I'll be here. But my job as a trader, your job as a trader, if you want to do this for a living, is to make money. My one and only job today is to make money trading. That's it. That's your job. So do it. Okay? This is automated. We have a buy limit in. It's automated. It will close out for me. It forces you to take profit. Okay? Imagine that. You're forced to take profit. Now, it's not going to be much. It's not even 1-to-1 of where I put the stop on this one. And it's not going to be much. I mean, we're talking dinner. Okay, we're at like 68. So we're not talking a lot. Maybe $75. So you're talking dinner money. Okay, we're going to close out 3 of those. We're going to close out $50. Woohoo. But if you're only looking for 100, 150, 200 per day, well, that $50 is one trade. And guess what? We still have the runner on. So let's do this. We're going to add number 6. So we placed our limit order. When the limit order is hit, we're going to move stop where? Where do you want to move stop? 2 places. And there are limit orders hit. So we locked in $50. Not anything spectacular, but that's our one trade. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and pull to break even. Just past it. Okay, and that's what I'm getting to on this. So when the limit orders hit, you're going to move your stop where? There's 2 places you can move your stop. And you pick one. It's either the half stop or break even. I need to look at the time. So we got 3 minutes. So we got 3 minutes before 9:30, and then we have 3 minutes after that. Sorry, I'm getting a text here or something. A text from the wife. You got to look and see what's going on. Okay. So when the limit order is hit, we're going to move our stop to either the half stop, which means, so if I would have kept my stop here at the half stop, then I'm going to lose some back. And I need to change this. Oh my, we need to add that rule, don't we? So when the limit order is hit, I already have moved stop down, don't we? So we need to move stop, but we also need to make sure to adjust stop quantity. Okay? Which I almost forgot because we had 4 contracts on. So it doesn't automatically adjust on this. So I closed out 3 contracts and it did not automatically adjust the one. And guys, when you do this right here, if you place that, where I place a trade and it has the stops out at 40, you would think that when it closes your partial, it would take the stop and make it 1. It does not. And I've had trouble with that. So what's happened is the stop by stop would say 4 contracts still. And then when you come in here and try and change it to 1, it actually won't let you do it. You have to delete the stop and do it again. Okay, so there it looks like we're getting a pullback. So we would move our stop to either the half stop or break even. That's a personal choice, this right here. So moving your stop to the half stop or break even is a personal choice. That's what you want to do. And then we change the quantity. And then 7 would be we would trail our stop one take profit level back is what we're going to do. So when it gets to take profit level 2, I just wanted it there. I did pull it to break even, didn't I? So we'd be out. I'll just let it stop me out. So the trail stop one level back is what we're going to do. We're going to trail our stop one level back. So if it goes down to level 2, there's our opening candle. So those are our rules. We'll leave those there right now. And then I am going to take this off because right now I'm going to turn that opening range break tool on. So it will not pop up till, we'll see it start to pop up here shortly. So that's a pretty big candle we barely stayed in. So I'm kind of glad I moved my stop back a little bit, kind of a happy accident because I had pulled it to break even. All right, so there's the chart. Now here's what I'm doing today. So I have 3 charts up, and I'm probably going to have to take the rules off, as you can see. So here's how I have the 3 charts. This one over here to the left this shows up from 9. The opening range break tool will show up from 9 to 9:33, or 9:30 to 9:33. It's the 3 minutes. So this first one is tracking the first 3 minutes. The second one here is tracking the first 15 minutes. And the third one here on the left is tracking the first half hour. So we're not interested in those right now. We're only going to look at this one. Now I'm going to have to, I'll leave the rules up while we have it on one chart. I just don't know where to put them. We'll put them over here, I guess. I need to see lows, guys. Since it's moving short, I need to see lows over here. Notice I have a line down here that we're at right now. It kind of hit. I think it just hit it. So notice it came down. That's a 4-hour level for us. So right now it looks like our 3 candles. This is building the box. Now I'm already in short. So I'm not going to get in short again. I might stack some on. And I'm wondering if we're going to get this. Is it going to plow through the 4-hour, or are we going to get more like something like that? And with that being said, it could go all the way back there. So we'll see what happens. But here's the first 3 minutes. This is the last candle. And there would be your box. And it's getting pretty big. So I'm at 63. So let's look at this. So I have one contract on. I'm up $62, $68, where it is right now. So this box is basically almost a $70 box right there. So keep in mind, now that's what you need to look at. This is pretty much a $70 box. If you're going to get in, if this breaks and closes on the other side of this, and you're going to get in, then if you place your stop on the other side of the box, you're risking $70 per contract. If you only want to risk $200 per trade, you're only going to go in with two contracts. Okay? If you're risking $200 per trade, you can almost put 3 in. 3 contracts with your stop across the box. Well, not where it is now, where it's closing, because the box is 70, but we're waiting on a candle to close. So we're almost ready to close. I'm going to go ahead and stack some on. We'll stack 6 on, because I really want to stay. So see how this candle is not closed past the box? It barely closed past the box. So let's go ahead and do it, even though I don't like it barely closed. See how our order moved all the way down here? Oh, and I did have this on. So let's see if this will let me adjust. See how it won't let me adjust this to 7? So I need to close that off real quick. There's 7, and we'll put our stop down here. We'll put our stop at halfway across the box. We'll close that stop. So right now we have 7 contracts on. Stop halfway across the box. We need to kind of hurry here. We're going to draw our trade tool right here. And then we're going to come and adjust our contract size down 1. And right here, we're going to put a buy limit of 6 on at profit target 1. That's how you want to set it up. Okay. So right now we're set up. So I stacked in, went in with the 6 contracts, which pulled my order down on the 1. We're really hoping it hits that, closes our partial. Again, this is automating it, but these are rules we just set up before. I mean, these are rules I already have in mind. This is how I do it. But I wanted to show you setting up the rules, having those rules on your chart. Just leave them there. Again, use the anchor tool. You can lock it if you want, but that locking is just so you don't accidentally move it around the chart or delete it. Because if you click on this, I don't even know if you delete it. Yeah, you can delete it. Wanted to take me out, but didn't. All right, so I am going to get up for a second. And let the dog out. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So again, now we've automated, and it happened quick, today. I mean, we had 3 big candles down. We were already in. I was, because if you notice, we had sell signals up here. So that's part of us being able to get in early. Sometimes it doesn't always work that way. So today it worked out that way where, I had sell signals. I got in over here and sat in the negative for quite a bit and was almost taken out, but had that 4-hour support and resistance level. Those are our key levels. So that's a 4-hour turning point. So for 4-hour candles, the 4-hour candles, the bigger chart, that was a turning point in the market, or possibly several turning points. We have a zone on the Dow that has been hit several times. And we're about to break even. So not liking what it's done, but we're waiting. So here again is what I was talking about earlier. Some people will, again, take it when a candle closes past the lower high, in this case the low. So you put the safety trade on, the 4 contracts. And then if it pulls back to test that level, then you could stack on the others. So that's what we're getting now. We're getting the pullback. I don't know if this one candle, right here is the full test of that, or if we're going to get a solid body, coming back to test that. Ultimately, again, what do we have near us? Well, we have a 4-hour support resistance level right there, okay, that it went through. So what is it doing? So we're seeing it pull back, and is it going to pull back to test that 4-hour support resistance level as resistance now? It'd be nice to just have it push and just keep, shooting down. Some days we get that, and some days we don't. So again, we set up the rules. Now, you can, if you want, move your stop now, to the quarter mark. Since it moved some, it didn't quite hit the take profit level. For me, I'd like to give it the extra room. And willing to take that loss if for it to go hit our take profit 1. So we'll see what happens here. Now, when I stacked in the 6, I was in profit, okay? So I had one contract on, the order was up in here, and that from here, yeah, because we closed out 3 here. Okay, so I put 2 contracts on here short, and then 2 contracts on here short, and then closed out 3. So that was the first profitable trade. Well, we had 2 at more of a break even. I'd have to look at the exact price we got in and pull the report. But overall, it was profitable because we also closed off one of those. And then when it pulled back, we're sitting and then added in, stacked in 6. So I've stacked in 6, but that was when it was in profit. I could stack on a couple more right now as it's pulled back and bump that up to a full 10. I'm going to wait. If price pulls back up there to that, we'll go ahead and stack on another 3. As long as I make sure to hit sell and not buy. And we need to change this so we don't have a stop placed. Yep, see, I missed it. So far, we'll see. If it pulls back up there to those wick highs, I'll go ahead and drop another 3 in there. And then I just have to remember, so if I drop 3 in, that'll be at 10, and I will need to come and change this to 9. But I'm okay where it sits. If I don't get to add those 3 in, it's okay. I mean, we pulled, I was flapping my gums, so we'll see. We might get it. And I need to change this. I thought I already changed that to a 3. So let's go ahead and sell off 3 more and bump that to a 10, and then we'll pop this to 9. So now we're at the full 10. So what am I thinking right now? It pulled down, didn't quite get to our target. We're seeing nothing but sideways here with healthy pullback toward the 4-hour. If you look, we have small candles here. These 2 candles, small, kind of in sync. If you look at the bodies, same size. These 2 candles, about same size. These 2 candles. Look, green's a little bigger than the red, but are you seeing a pattern? Yes, I am. Now we have a big green one here. Are we going to get a red one to pull back down here? Or is it going to be green? Is it going to pull on up? But we have it wicking. These candles here have wicked up toward the 4-hour level. Okay, so it's testing this level. Okay, so this is what I was looking for, and we've got 13 seconds, 12 seconds. So this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a red candle at least the same size as that green one, because we're seeing that, right now we have a buy, and then we have a sell candle. We have a green candle. We have a red candle. We have a green candle, red candle. Each set of candles is about the same size. So I wanted to see that here as well. So we're getting, the buyers stepping in, and we're getting that move up. But then I wanted to see that same move back down. I wanted to see that we're getting that kind of ebb and flow with the candles. So we'll see what this one does. Does this candle even go up to reach that red one? We'll see. So right now we're at 43 after. Okay. So what we would look at is this. I'm going to go ahead and delete the rules off there. We can put them back on later. So the reason why I want to do this is you're looking at this right here and this right here. So again, we're over here on the left, or on the right, sorry, the right screen, and we're already in the trade. Now my trade shows up on all 3. There's nothing I can do about that. Okay. So the trade shows up here, and if I shut off the trade, it won't just be for that. Or will it? I can shut it off. So I can shut off my trades so they're not visible on these other 2 charts. I wasn't sure if it would shut it off across the board on that. So we have it up here. We're almost hitting profit. This is the 15-minute time frame, the middle. Okay? So on the middle screen, The and again, notice I don't really care what's going on over here. We're about to hit profit. There we go. So it closed apart. But that's it. It was automated. Okay? I didn't have to do anything. Now what I have to do, according to our rules, if you remember, okay, so we just hit 45 after. And I'll delete some stuff off my charts because we're going to see a lot. It's going to get messy. So here's the 15-minute. So right now, if you, let's move the stop down to halfway. And we're going to change our order down to 1. We need to change the quantity because we only left one runner on. So now I'm willing, we closed off 10, okay, in profit. And I'm willing to lose back half of on one contract, half of that. 1-to-1, or it wasn't quite 1-to-1. So this is the first 15 minutes, okay? Let me delete this for a second. So again, the middle chart's the first 15 minutes. There's your high-low, okay? Here's your high, and here's your low of the first 15 minutes. Now, yesterday I was sitting there drawing. I would draw the lines. But today I'm wanted to show you the 3 different charts set up just side by side. So that's some people right now, okay? So we're already in, we're already profited, and we still have a runner on. There's other people right now that are watching this right here. They're just now marking a high-low. They're same high as us. Different low. We've already profited at that low. Okay, and that's the low they're waiting to see if it's broke. Now the person over here on the far left, that's the middle screen. The left is the trader. It's waiting the half an hour. So they may not be at the computer yet. Okay, the person here on the left, again, they're waiting for this to hit 10 o'clock, and then they're going to mark the high-low. The indicator does it for you, and this is not one I created, okay? But it automatically pops up with the times you set. So we don't really need to watch the one on the left, the screen on the left, because that person is not even at the computer yet, okay? They still got 13 minutes before they're going to mark the high and the low. The middle screen is the person that was waiting the first 15 minutes. So they're thinking about getting in right now, okay? We have a candle that's pushed past. We got 18 seconds left. So we're now at almost 10 seconds. So 10 seconds. Is that going to break and close past? It looks like it might. And they're thinking of getting in now. So now some of them will get in, okay, on that candle. So we'll go ahead and mark that. And again, it's going to show up on all 3 screens. But just know that that arrow right there is, I wonder if I can, let's see. Let's make it a little smaller. Okay, so there's the 15-minute entry. Now, again, according to our rules, what would we do? Well, remember, our rules, we would only put on 4 contracts right there in case it doesn't go long-term, in case it doesn't break and run. Now, it may pull down a little, and then we would wait. And as it comes back to test the low it just broke, which is right there, then you would stack on the other. So you could put a safety trade in. Or your rules may be that you just go in with the full 10, the full A+ setup. Now, again, we're still here in profit. Technically, this side over here that we're in hasn't even hit 1-to-1. It hit 1-to-1 for us with where I had the stop. Because remember, we had the stop here, the halfway point. I think I've adjusted that to 1.5. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, we wanted this actually. So I would adjust that to 50, the percent of target. And the reason why I would adjust that to 50, see where it's for us, it was 1-to-1, because remember, I put my stop here at the halfway point. So that was my 1-to-1. So that's why I just adjusted it. Sorry I didn't do that earlier. So 1-to-1 for me, since I'm using the middle of the box, okay, in this case, since it was such a deep move with the 3 candles, I wanted to, when we got in or I stacked in, I wanted to go in with my stop in the middle of the box. Because that move. Typically on a 3-minute, I'll have it on the other side. But because that move was so big, it was $70 move. We did it halfway through the box. So at that point, you should drop back this right here and put our TP1 at 50%. So the 50% is 50% of the box because that's where our stop is. That was our true 1-to-1. Okay. So right now, this person that is in, again, the person waiting till 10 o'clock is not in yet. Okay. They're still sitting out. Got about 9 minutes left. And then you have the people that waited the first 15 minutes. They're in, not in profit yet. Now, let's say they used 50% of the box. So if they use 50% of the box for their stop loss, okay, so 50% of the box because they put their stop here, would their stop be safe there? Yeah, pretty safe. Good. We have a 4-hour support resistance level there. Are you kidding me? So again, they would put the stop at the 50% level, and then that 1-to-1 would be here. They would put a target order, in this case a buy limit order. Let me turn this back on, down in here, okay? I think I got a target marker up. All right, so they would put their target down here. They would put a buy limit order at level 1. So again, they would have got in there, put their stop at the 50% level. Their stop would be there. Well, let's go ahead and mark that. So that's the 15-minute trader, the guy that waits the first 15 minutes. Okay. So the guy that waits the first 15 minutes, and this is where it kind of gets messy because you're going to see my stop marker shows up on all 3 screens, and then my stop and my target both does. So that's pretty much the stop. That would be the 15-minute stop. And look at where he's at. He's almost at take profit. So if this is the break and run that I was telling you about, and this is why I'm mentioning this, because notice that it broke, closed past the low. If you're not going to go in with all in, if you want to wait and see if it pulls down and pulls back to test it before you get in, but you don't want to miss the move, well, put a safety trade on. That's where you're placing a smaller contract size trade so you don't miss it if it just on this break just keeps running. And it did. It pulled back, pulled down quite. Didn't hit 1-to-1 yet. So they still haven't reached their closed partial yet. Now we've hit profit target 2 over here on my side. So we had our stop here at the 50% level where it is. And there's our 1-to-1. And we would move our stop down, right, to where that is. Quarter stop level or break even, either or. Remember, it hits profit level 1, take profit 1. You're moving your stop to the quarter stop area, which is a quarter way between the low and the halfway point, or break even. Well, now I am moving it to break even. The reason why is because it hit profit level 2, and I said we were going to trail back. So I want it to go to profit level, and you could go to profit level 1. This is where that personal preference kind of plays out. This is up to you. We got 6 minutes left before the person that waits the first half hour is going to look to place a trade. Now, they're probably sitting there looking now, seeing what's going on and going, man, I missed that. Look at that thing. Shot down, sideways for a bit under that 4 hour. They probably don't even have a 4 hour support resistance level on their chart. We do, but they probably don't. All right. The person here in the middle, that's the person again waiting the first 15 minutes before they take an entry. They took an entry on this break. They only put on 4 contracts because they didn't want to miss if it breaks and runs, or they might have put on 10. That is going to be up to you guys. That's going to be your rules that you set. I set mine up the way I set it up. I don't want to miss the move, so yes, I'm going to put on something. So we're almost to our target marker here. And again, this is the 15-minute trader, the guy that waits the first 15 minutes of the stock market to be open. That's their target level. So it's almost hit. Now, again, a more aggressive approach to the stop is that they would have already pulled here to the stop and moved it part way. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. When it starts moving, there's nothing wrong with taking your stop and this thing starts moving and you moving your stop down. You're protecting capital, okay? Less risk. So right now with our stop here, we have X amount of risk when you get in here, right? Well, if we move it down as it goes down, then we're protecting capital. We're going to be in with less risk. So right now, they hit what? Right now, their target was hit. They just hit. So the person waiting the first 15 minutes, they also hit their target, first target. Now, they pulled a break even or leave it there. Quarter stop, or are you pulling it to break even? Okay, that's up to you. Here's quarter stop. So I said it's going to get a little messy here. We don't want that. Or are you pulling your stop to break even? So there's their stops right there. So profit target 1 was hit. And if our target, so let's say that the ORB indicator had take profit 1 down here under the 4 hour time frame, 4 hour support resistance level, I would not have put my target down there if that's where TP1 was marked off the indicator. You got to cheat it up and put it up above, because the pair come down, the instrument comes down, hits the 4 hour level, it may not go past that. Okay, you can't bank on it. So if you can't bank on it going through the 4 hour level to hit your target, well then don't put your target down there. Don't put your buy limit down here. Okay, so you just don't put it down there. If TP1, again, off the indicator was down here, I would not put my buy limit here. I would adjust it. Now, can it come through there and hit it? Yes, it can. But there's a 4 hour support and resistance level there, 4 hour price point where the market has turned before. That means the during the 4 hour candles, that's a turning point, which means between the buyers and sellers, it's bounced there. All right, so both of them panned out today. We were in profit earlier, so I'm up 92 on the one runner, and we're almost to take profit 3, so I'm at least going to move our stop. I got the overlap on. Let me turn it down. I'm going to move to 1.5. So I got 1.5 on the runner, which is good. Trailing a little tight. It's either that or it's back here on 1-to-1. And then typically what I want to see happen is I want to see a candle close past level 3. I like to see when a candle closes past. So candle closes past level 2, move your stop to level 1. Candle closes past level 3, then move your stop to level 2. Okay. So right now we printed the other side of the box on the half-hour trader. So that's the chart on the left. And this is how you want to look at it overall if you're trying to decide what time frame you want to be. Plus, it may have to do with work, family life, what you got going on in the morning. You may not be able to come to the chart at 9:30 in the morning. You may have to wait till 10 o'clock. I've gone over this before for those that work. No problem with setting alarms right now. So let's say you're the person that waits the first half hour. It's 10 o'clock right now. Okay, so you come in, and what I would do if I was you is come in like this and mark the low. It's going to make me click on that. Okay. Take the low and mark the low and set an alarm. Where's it at? Set an alarm. Okay, set an alarm for that line to be not for something to cross. We want it to cross down. So we want to know when the instrument is crossing down through this low and set that alarm. Okay, come up here to the high and you'd set an alarm at the high. If you want to be aware if it goes back to the midpoint, then come in here and mark the midpoint, which is right here. There's a line there, that dashed line. Mark your midpoint and set an alarm there. Okay, and then go about your day. Go back to work. So I've gone over that before. If you're working and you're coming in at that 10 o'clock and that's what you're waiting on, you're going to mark those 3 levels. You're going to run off to the bathroom, or if you can do it at your desk, whatever. Sneak off, place the 3 alarms, and go back to work. And you can do it here too. I mean, you can do it with all 3. But typically, if we're on the 3-minute time thing, or over here, waiting the first 3 minutes, it goes pretty quick. So we're getting that pullback to level 2. Of course, on all 3 charts, it's happening. Here on the left, we're seeing that, yes, it's 10 o'clock, and we're seeing a pullback. So from 9:30 to 10, nothing but a downward move with the sideways movement in between. And we were in on that over here, and then on the 3-minute. And then basically now at 10 o'clock, it's pulled back up. And we just got to wait and see what happens. So it's pulled back up through the 4-hour time, or support and resistance level, sorry. And we're waiting. So we'll check our text. See if we got any messages. So the person, again, that waits till 10 o'clock, they're not in yet. Let me pull off the profit target. So I'm going to pull off the profit target because this person over here in the middle, that waited the first 15 minutes, they did hit their first take profit level. So that being said, and I mentioned this yesterday, I mentioned it before when we did the full test on all 4 indices, that as we looked at this, and I looked at the first 15 minutes and half an hour, it seemed like waiting the first half hour worked best on NASDAQ. However, most of the time it only went to 1 to 1.5. Okay? And that's it. So take profit level 1 to 1.5 is typically what it went to. So if I was looking to trade it, what should I expect? So again, when you backtest this stuff and you look at it and you see that on most days, NASDAQ, if you're trading that, or Russell or ES. So like I said, on NASDAQ, a lot of the times, because a lot of people love to trade NASDAQ, and I tell people stay away from it. Trade, S&P, trade Dow, trade Russell. A lot of people get knocked around by NASDAQ. So, but that being said, a lot of people like to trade it. So when I was looking at that and testing all four and keeping a spreadsheet, a lot of time, again, NASDAQ only went to 1 to 1.5. So with that said, what should you expect? Well, in the past, if NASDAQ at least gets to level 1, possibly 1.5, take profit level, we definitely want to close partial at level 1. Close partial and move to break even. Okay? So that would be the rule you'd set up on that. If I'm trading NASDAQ and I wait the first half hour, okay, and then get a break below the low or break above the high, and I get in, when it hits take profit level 1, I need to close partial, move my stop up to at least a half stop, quarter stop, or break even, but move it some. And that would be your rules that you would set up. So right now we're getting a little hefty pullback. We have a higher low in here. So if you look at the swings on the 1-minute candles, we have a low that turned right at the 4-hour support resistance level. Those 3 candles right here at that low is a morning star. So you have a swing down, you got a morning star turning right at a 4-hour support resistance level. So we're getting a pullback off that. It pulled up, pulled back, and then now we're moving up again. So these candles right here, this candle right here broke this high. Okay, so it pulled up, formed a high, came back, pulled back up. That green candle right there broke this high. So that gives us that low. And then basically that's a higher low. So it looks like we definitely have a higher high than in this area and a higher low than in this area. Mark your retracement tool because we're definitely retracing. How far back are we going to go? We don't know. But you come in and mark your retracement line up. And we wait to see what happens with that. Is it going to keep scaling up that line? Or is it going to go through the line and keep moving short? Nothing too exciting today. Now, if I look at where my stop is, I know that it may do this right here, and I'll be taken out. I'm okay with that. But it could come back, keep going up that line. It could break through the line. So 1, it could do that. It could keep going up through there. 2, we're doing some if-then now kind of assessment. It could break through that, come back up to test the backside of that line, okay, as resistance. And also we have a level in here, right, where it was sideways. So it could come back up there, and we could see it pull up there, and then it could still go short, okay, or it could keep going long. But if I look at my stop is right there where I'd be taken out. There I am, so I'm taken out. So is it just going to come up and test this low where this line is, or test this kind of flat area in here where we have several candle bodies where it kind of hung out? Is that it? Is it going to go there, or is it going to go deeper? Now I'm out, so I'm not even in. Okay. So we'll look to see what it does. If it breaks the retracement line, then I'll get back in. So we're good on the day. I'm trying to click over here and see. All right. So not bad. Let me pull this up. So basically, and I'm pulling a report out here. And if you remember, I said the first two, because I was trying to get in a little early. And we had some 2 contract losses. And I'll show you those. So remember earlier, I looked at starting to get in at 7:30 and took a buy. There was a buy signal at 7:30. So at 7:30 a.m., after that, a little bit, took a buy signal. And then I got to watch this for candle breakage here. So again, at 7:30 a.m., looked for signals, got a buy signal, bought 2, put in a 2 contract trade long, and then that turned around and pulled back and gave a sell signal. So I got in on that. And so there was a couple small losses, 2 contract losses. But again, riskier, remember, 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the morning. Market hasn't really opened here in the U.S. yet. So I consider that to be a little riskier trade. We're not trading with volumes here. So we don't have that volume, which gives us that, volatility and movement. So trading at that time, off-peak hours, we're going to go in with less contracts. So that's why I only went in with 2. So I took 2 small losses. This guy here that waited on 10 o'clock, still nothing. Now, some of the traders will wait for that pullback, and they're going to get in. So that some of them, if they're trading again, the ORB break, you don't get a break, but you get a pullback to the middle. They're looking for a bounce in here, and they will get in and take that. That's kind of a hybrid rule to this. The person here in the middle, they waited the first 15 minutes to get in. They did take profit 1. They closed partial. If they move to their stop to break even, they're stopped out on their runner, just like I am. And then we're stopped out on the runner. Now, if they only move their stop to the quarter mark, they're still in. We'd still be in as well if we didn't move the stop, if I wouldn't have moved it so tight. So let's just pull back on this one. And remember, I adjusted the indicator too to only show the buy and sell signals after 7:30 in the morning. Okay, so here's this vertical line, 7:30 in the morning. That's the way it was set up originally. I changed the code to where it was on all the time, which is here. Remember, if you click this, it turns on the buy-sell signals for the entire day. The problem is, off-peak hours, you're going to get a lot of buy and sell signals that are back and forth. You don't want to take those trades because you're off-peak hours. You're when there's no volume in the market. we know it's going to be back and forth. So we're not taking those signals. You can shut those off and just have the New York session open, which is right now. That's all I have. So we're only seeing those signals there. So that's the second one. So the first one I took here, 2 contracts, it came back and gave a sell signal. So I switched directions. Okay. And the buy signal was when I had it earlier, the others on, but I took that candle long and it was above this 4-hour level. When this sell signal came, what was it? The red candle was below the 4-hour support resistance level. So that's why I shorted. We're below the 4-hour. We have a sell. It just so happened that the news candle wicked me out. And I mentioned that you have to know when the news is out. So since news was coming out at 8:30, I went in light with 2 contracts because I knew it could happen. It could wick up and take me out. Ultimately, was I in the right direction? Yes. Ultimately, this sell signal came through. Look at that big drop from over here where I put my original 2 on. Look at the big drop. It just so happened that the news candle wicked up and took me out first. That's my close of my 2. And then the next candle here, when it was down, or when that candle closed down here, I put on 2 short. Okay. So I got closed out of this trade for another small loss, and then put 2 on short, sat in the negative for a while, and then this is where I stacked in 2 more. So remember, I stacked in 2 more, and then when it came down here, I closed out 3 of those, 4. Again, 2 short over here, 2 short, stack in here. You can do that once. If you're in the negative, you can stack in once. And then, we're going to go in short. I'm going to do a tight stop. I meant to do 6. I got 7 on. And then closed out 3 here, and then had 1 on. And then again, we stacked in over here. Okay. So we stacked in 7 here. So we stacked in here, and then closed out 9 after stacking in, left 1 contract on. So great trade. They were all good. Small loss on this one. This second entry was good. You can't help what the news candle does. Okay. So let's see if and I need to put a trail on. Where's here we go. So we got this right here is here's that. Let me do this first, guys. I need to put a closed partial. So I'm going to go for small target on this one, and we're going to put a buy limit of 6 right here. I'm doing it tight. So got him with 7, putting in a buy limit here to close 6. We want to automate that close, and then we would come change it. So here's what I've got so far today on this. I hope you can see that okay. So $274 total, $380.50 with a $106 loss for the day so far, and we got another trade on right now. Okay. And let's see, here's the trades. I'll pull it kind of over here. So there's the trades. So again, took 2 contracts here, took a small loss, and then there's the other 2 contracts. which news, there was slippage when the news took me out. So that's where sometimes the instrument's moving so fast, it'll blow past your stop. So you have to be really careful. So there's our loss for the day, and that's the 108. And then you'll see that we have all the rest are in profit from where we put on, stacked in, closed out partials. Sometimes it'll take an order and break it up. So sometimes you'll put on, 10 contracts, you'll close out 9 partial, and it may not close all 9 together. It may close out like 6, and then you'll see 2 and then 1. And so that's where you get a lot of these little 1s and 2s unless it's your runner. So far good on the day. Our biggest would be here. 1 contract runner, that's our biggest runner so far, is 100. Okay. And we had a $94. That's 4 here. Okay, so that's on the day on it. So good day so far. A lot of times I'm only looking for $100. Remember, we're looking for $100 per trade a couple times a day. Now I'm going to go ahead and take some of these marks. These charts are getting really congested here with these small marks. We leave our 4-hour zones on. I don't like taking those off, but I'm going to take several of these off right here. We never really got a pullback. So after it broke through this retracement line, we never really had a pullback to test the backside. So we may still get it. And I'm debating whether to close off part because we did hit 100. What I like to do is when it hits that 100, 125 is close out partial. Because again, I'm trying to get $500 per day on this account right here that I'm on. And as we know, we've pulled back. Let's look at the other 2 charts. The other person got into. So right where I got in, okay, over here, more than likely this person took the trade. Now this is that test that we talk about. Oh, I'm sitting there talking, guys. My mic's muted. I'm sorry. All right, so let's go back over that. So basically, we just closed partial. I went over that. Here's what I want to see happen, right? We're in short. We want to see it keep going short. Could it go past the 4-hour support resistance level? Could it go through the zone? Yes, it 100% could. Will it? We don't know. Should we expect it? No, we shouldn't. Okay? If it happens, great, but we don't expect it. That's why I put my take profit level up here. I put my take profit level above that, above this low, because what could happen? Price could come down and turn back at this low. Okay, peak below the 4-hour, turn and go back above. So will it break the 4-hour? I don't know. So I put my profit target above. Will it break this low? It did, but we didn't know it would. It came and we even had a green candle. So that's why I put my take profit level where I did. I wanted to pull profit. Again, that's my job for the day. Now, the 15-minute, because I'm not sure how much I went over when I had the mic muted. Again, sorry for that. But the guy that got in on the first 15 minutes, waited 15 minutes, 9:45, marked the high low. They got in light there with 4 contracts. They closed out 3 here, had a buy limit to close 3. When it starts pulling back, it prints a higher high, higher low. You draw your retracement line, retraces back, goes through. Basically, this bounce right here is bouncing off this area. Get a red candle, boom, you're in. Okay? So I got in right there when this red candle was here. That red candle there, okay? That's one I got in on, that close of that, because it broke that retracement line. We actually had a sell signal come up too, which is further confirmation that we may see it continue short further, and that we put to take profit. So I've already pulled take profit, and now we have a runner. And it looks like, again, so price has broke the 4-hour. It's heading to the zone, or looks like it may. We have to wait and see what happens. Now, I can go ahead and adjust my stop at this point if I don't want to take a loss. Right now, I'm up $57 on the runner. Not much. It's dinner, but $57 on that. You can close it all out and be done for the day. I can move my stop. I don't like closing off my winners, so I like to let my runners go. So we can move our stop to a break-even point and leave it there, okay? And know that we know that it could pull back through the 4-hour. It did it over here, but we're hoping it stays below. We're going to leave our stop there. We're not going to lose anything against the gains. Now, I went over again. This guy here, the 15 minutes, he waits to 9:45, trades that break, 4 contracts. It comes down, closes 3, pulls back, breaks. He puts on another, either he goes in with his 10, goes back in with 4. It's really up to you guys. And then puts another 3 contract close down like where I did. I don't always expect it to go down to the level it did this time. You know, it went all the way back down and touched that. But with the 4-hour level being there and this little bounce being here, I put my take profit level above that. Okay, so we have reasons why we put our take profit level there, you know, our buy limit. The person that waits till 10 o'clock, so they do the 9 o'clock or 9:30 to 10 o'clock, so they're waiting on a break of a lower high to get in. Right now, we're just now seeing that. But I did mention that some of those traders, okay, you got your high, you got your low. When it retraces back like this, they're doing what I'm doing. They might not be drawing a retracement line, but they're waiting on price to pull back toward a midpoint or toward a certain level. And we actually have over here, again, we have this level in here where we have a sideways movement, okay? So this price point basically held up as support, and then over here it holds up as resistance, and you get a turn. Now for us, we're going to draw our retracement line, okay? And we're going to watch, and when it breaks the retracement line, because the retracement line, if you look, was drawn off of this candle here to this candle here. And that's as I say that, it's probably right behind my head. No, it's not. So those two candles right there is where it's drawn off of. Okay? So when it broke that, again, that's when they got in. So the person waiting from 9:30 to 10 more than likely got in on that pullback. If they're waiting for a break, they just now got it. It's right here. So they got their break and candle close, passed, and then they're in. Okay? Did I adjust this? I did not adjust that to the 50 level. So I'm readjusting the take profit on this to the 50-point level. So again, that's halfway through the box. So they've still got a ways to go to target, if that's what they waited on. Now, if they got in here on this pullback, so it pulls back, breaks the retracement line, you get in short, okay? If that's what you're in on, then where should your first take profit level be? Well, the 4-hour support resistance level is right here at the inside bottom. Let's put our take profit level there. So they would have actually come in, or I would have came in and put my target marker there, or my target there. You know, somewhere in that area is where we would have put our buy limit. And that's what I did. Mine was actually a little bit above that. So on mine, it was right there, okay, is where it was. So you have a reason of putting it there. Why? Well, because look at where it turned. It turned here before. It may not go past that 4-hour level, and it may not go past the low. It may turn there. So that being said, if it might do that, but my job is to take profit, then I'm going to take profit. I'm going to do my job. Okay? So I'd say the strategy worked out good today. And on all three fronts, again, it depends on how you trade it. Now, if the person just sits here that waits 9:30 to 10, and they're just adamant about waiting for a candle to break the low or high before they get in, then they're in on that candle right there. That is their entry candle. You know, in the indicator signals, see the arrow up here, the red arrow? Okay, well, that's where they got in on. The person over here waiting the first 15 minutes, there's your red arrow. You know, that signals that break. So when you get a candle that breaks below that low, that's what you'll get, is the red candle up top. That's what we have those for. So they're just now in if that's what they're waiting on. And their first take profit level's down here. Profit target 1. So looking across the board, the person that waits the first half hour, 9:30 to 10, they're not in profit yet. If they wait for a break, a candle to break and close past the low or high, they're still not in profit yet. I mean, they're in profit, but they haven't closed partial. Okay. Now, if they got in here on the pullback, break of the retracement line, that person hopefully closed partial. Okay. And they have a runner on. Keep a runner on. Same here with this one. Went over that the person trading the first 15 minutes, they actually, you know, sold off here, maybe 4, closed 3 over here at TP1. On the pullback, they got in with, say, another 4. They still have one runner on, right? Get in with 4 here, close off 3, pulls back. You get in with another 4. And again, I'm just using these numbers as an example. Get in with another 4, set your buy limit down here, closes off 3, you'd have 2 runners on. So this person should have 2 runners on. Okay? And we would have more runners on, but I decided to close them all off and just leave 1 for the run. So they're getting there. They're about halfway to, so right now, again, the person over here, I already got stop markers on there, so let's take this off. So getting in here on this pullback, your stop could have been right above that high. Getting in on this candle close, on the left, the weights a half hour, getting in on that candle close past the low, stop midway through the box, halfway. And then as it's going down, right, it's moved down about a little over halfway to TP1. Well, move your stop. Move your stop halfway to break even. Okay? And then you could trail your stop till you get to break even. So they might have their stop there at a quarter stop. It's kind of hard. I can't draw individual stops on each of these because they're all the same chart. So this right here, the person in the middle that waited the first 15 minutes, 2 good trades. You know, first one being here, entry, close off partial, entry, close off partial, you got a runner on. And right now it's closed past level 2 for you. So your stop could be at level 1, trailing 1 back. And then there's us over here. Several trades on. And so it's moved down. Oh, I'm out. How am I out? Oh, I blew up the wrong chart. Sorry. I'm like, I thought I was still in. So we still have the runner on. And you can see how my charts get messy as we go. I normally don't mark them up like all this. So we've hit level 4 from our original entry over here. Okay. This is where we had our signal right there. So when that candle closed, and it closed barely, guys, and there's kind of a debate on that between people. So there is a debate on how far that candle closes past the lower high to get in. So it's up to you guys. This one just barely closed below it, and I went ahead and jumped in. So again, it's really up to you whether you say, you know, that's just not enough of a close pass for me to get in. I want to see more of a close past that. And you might have got in on that candle, which you just sat in the negative for quite a while before. Where here, if you got in on this one, you're mostly positive. So again, it just really depends. You're going to make those rules up and stick to them. And again, I would have the rules up there, that text box I showed you earlier, which is already deleted. So I'd have to go back and pull that back up, where you make the rules up and just have that text box anchored here. So we've had price pull down, hit the bottom of our mid zone. So these yellow zones, red, yellow, green, those are on the 4-hour time frame, major swing turning points. So we have our 4-hour support and resistance levels, and then we have our 4-hour zones. So since it's a major turning point in the market on the 4-hour time frame on that instrument, well, then it might turn there, and it has. It hit the bottom and turned. So will it keep going up and up and up and up and up? Again, don't know. Don't care. Got to make my rules. Got to stick to them. So we would want to move our stop down. Do you leave your stop where it is for the rest of the day? So we have options, right? It hit level 4. It's pulling back up. I could see it turning at this level. Okay. So I could see it turning around this bottom right here, this low. But I don't really need to draw a line there, do I? Because I have the 4-hour. So since we have our 4-hour support and resistance level there, we just know it may go to there. So what we would do is we'd come in and draw a retracement line. We want to draw a retracement line up there and wait and see if that gets broken. Now, as far as stop movement, we can leave our stop there for the rest of the day, because I'm going to cut out here in a little bit. So we could leave our stop there for the rest of the day. And, you know, around 4 o'clock, 4:30, look at where it's at and close out. That's what we want to do. I mean, we could check it every hour. You know, we've got options. We can move our stop down to level 2. So we can move our stop down here, level 2. We could move our stop to level 3. Just know that if you do, you're kind of putting it in a danger zone, right? Because the 4 hours here, it could come all the way back to the 4-hour. So I would either leave mine here at level 2 or just leave it at a break-even point, and then basically wait till the end of the day and say, I really don't care what I get. Right now where the stop is, I'm going to get what we call tip money when you go out to eat. That's all we're going to get. We're going to get some tip money on this runner. Right, as of right now where the stop is. So if it pulls all the way back, stops me out, I got a little bit of tip money and that's it. Or it's $70. We could close out. That's where you have to think back to before you even start trading. And this is what I tell people all the time. Before you even start trading is, how much do you want to make a month? How much do you want or need to make a month? Okay, divide that by 4 weeks. Divide that by 4. Gives you how much you need per week. Divide that by 5. Gives you how much you need to make per day if you're trading 5 days. Okay? So, whatever that may be. If you want to make $2,000 per month, right? Or let's say $4,000. You want to make $4,000 per month. What is that per week? That's $1,000 per week. Divide that by 5 days. That's $250 that you have to make. So right now we're at 52. So you're trying to make that, $100 a trade, $50 a trade. Depends on how many trades you're willing to take throughout the day. So on these, it's $500 a day for me. Let me go out and I will go pull a report and see where we're at. Since we did close partial on the other one. We're almost there. Oh, I could have. I'll pull it in here. Since I already showed you the other chart, I'm just going to pull the top in. That last close, we got 150 on it. I guess I'll pull that one too. There we're getting a sell signal. So there's where I said we would draw that. Remember, I didn't do it though, did I? Sorry, guys. Didn't draw the retracement line. But there's your retracement line up as it pulled back. Right now we're getting a sell signal. So let's go ahead. We're going to throw 5 on a sell. And I'm going to do this pretty tight. So we need to change this to 7, right? Oh, I need one more on there. And then I would come in here, let's go 6, and put a, this is going to be really tight, put a buy limit here of 6. Now that's super tight, okay? So I'm going to move our stop down. I'm going to move the stop down to make it tighter, to align with my almost 1-to-1 ratio, right? We're pulling it here to the 4 hour, above the 4 hour still. We're keeping it tight. Our take profit level, our buy limit on the 6 contracts is here. So I'm setting it there because I'm setting it above this inside bottom, right? The swing down and up gives us a low or bottom, and the inside of that is right here. So it may only, I could see this only going. Now, I want it to go way below this. I want it to keep going down. I want it to hit profit target 5 from the original trade and keep going. That's what I want. That I may not get that. So I'm going to look at this inside bottom here. So it may only go right to there, okay? the inside bottom, and then boom, it could be over. Our short trend could be over, because right now, hasn't it been a short trend? Yes, it has. It's been a short trend. So it may be over. So I need to pull profit. I want to pull profit before it turns around. So I'm expecting the worst, but I may be given the best. I guess that's the way I should put it. I'm expecting the worst. I'm expecting it to only come down here and turn at that level. Let's expect that. And then, surprise, surprise, if we're given that it moves way past that and keeps dropping. So we're about to close out. We're at 159. There we go. And I don't know how. Oh, it closed out in 2 different trades, it looks like. So let's change this to a 1. And we'll leave our stop where it is. Okay? So there's one more trade we just got in. Now, it moved our order down. We can't do anything about that, right? It closed out 6, and we left only 1 runner. Now, ideally, what I like to do is, you put on... Sorry, I'm still getting over a cold. You put on your trade. You put on 4 contracts or 6 contracts here. You close out. What did we do? 6. We had 1 runner on. Put on 6 here. When that candle closed past, put on 3 more over here when this candle pulled up. Okay, getting in at a better price on those 3. Closed out 9 because we weren't sure if it would get past that level. And then had 1 runner on. Typically what I like to do is leave 1 on for each. So when we had 6 on here and then added 3 here, then technically I would have liked to have left 1 runner off each of these. And we would have had like 3 runners on. Then when we come in here and trade short again with 7, then we'd leave 1 runner on for that. We'd have 3 or 4 runners on. We just got in another trade here. And I just stacked on 5 more, or what was it? 6 more contracts. So put on 6, closed off 6. Typically put on 6, close off 5. Leave a runner on each in case it runs. And then you have multiple contracts on as runners, okay, which is great if they keep trending and going. So far, again, this has worked good. We'll look at the other 2 time frames. But for us, waiting just the first 3 minutes there from 9:30 to 9:33, we had a good entry, a good follow through. It kind of hung sideways for a while. But if you entered on that candle, then you were sideways for a while, but you were in the positive. You were in a little bit in the negative on this candle, and that's it. For the most part, you were positive, just back and forth, but it was near level 1, so hopefully you would have closed off partial. So, and that's the thing. So you get in with what I'd put on 6 contracts there. If that's what you got in with, say 4 contracts, closed out 3, well then you can be more relaxed. You have 1 runner on. It's not a big deal. So let me go back and pull the reports on this. Let's look at these 2 real quick. So again, the person waiting the first half hour or 15 minutes, 9:30, 9:45, it's hit profit level 2. This person over here still has not hit profit level 1. But look at what they got. They finally got their pullback and bounce. So again, let's talk about the guy waiting until 10 o'clock to get in. They didn't have any break here to get in, but they had a pullback toward the middle. Okay, retracement line. They got in on that. A lot of people may not be using the retracement lines. Okay, but it pulled right back toward the middle, bounced right at that level, broke the retracement line. I'm in. Okay. And then ultimately we had a sell signal. I better be in. Okay. Because after all, I put a lot of faith in that. So that sell signal tells me, hold on. It's going down. Went down. You close partial before the 4 hour. It moves on down. And then it pulls back. There was your break. We talked about that. So some people waiting the first half hour, that pullback, they'll get in on that. Others are waiting for a candle to close past the lower high. They're in on that. They haven't hit level 1 yet, but they went in with the safety trade. Remember, instead of going all in with 10, you put on 4, and then if it pulls back and bounces, then you could stack on more. Okay, so they might have got in with another, put the other 6 back on. They still haven't hit level 1 yet. It's making another run at that low, previous low right here. So we'll see what that gives us. Let me go pull a report real quick. Since I put that new trade on, I'm pulling it. So I'm pretty much, as far as my daily limit or my daily target, I'm done. And I'll show you those here. Just let me pull the two parts of the report here. I always like to pull the top half, and then I'll pull the bottom half where the trades are. And then I will pull them in over the charting. Whoops, sorry, I blanked out the charts. All right. I don't want that. We want images. All right. So here is the top of that. I'm dragging the whole chart there, guys. All right, there you go. So again, for me on this account, I like that it's a 500 for the day on the target. So I've hit it. Okay, actually made 694 with a loss of 106. So we haven't lost any more. We lost on those first 2 trades that I took before 9:30 even come about. Okay, that one was after 7:30, so even before 8 o'clock, and it was a buy. And then I took a small loss on that when I gave a sell. It was right around the 4-hour time frame or 4-hour support and resistance level. Took 2 small losses, but only went in with 2 contracts on those. Why? Because it was a riskier time to trade because there's no volume. And without volume, we don't get movement, so we don't get volatility, which creates the movement. So we don't expect it, so going with less contracts. Riskier trading. So ultimately, again, I'm looking for 500 on this account, and I've got 588 for the day. So technically, I'm done. It's not letting me delete that for some reason. Let me try it this way. Okay, so, and here's the trades. All right, so there's the trades on it. So let's look at where that last trade is. Again, there's the 2 losses, 27.79. Not a big deal because they were 2 contract trades. That was it. Because again, it was riskier. I was off market hours. I was pre-market. It was before even the Forex market opened. So we're going to trade with less contracts. So that less, remember it was 6 contracts we closed. That last trade I just put on with the tight stop over here, this one right here. So I put 6 contracts on here, right? I'm hoping you can see that. Yeah. So 6 contracts on over here and closed out the 6 because we already had 1 runner on. So there we closed out 6. So here's how it closed out on the platform. It closed out 4, and then it closed out, well, that wouldn't even be right on the 411. The way these closed and looked. But anyways, there's all 6 closed out. So just more to the pile. And again, it just doesn't look right, the amounts. I'd have to go look why this one says 1350 and that one says 96. But it's not my report. It's off the platform. So we have 1 runner on still. So that was yet another good trade. So first entry, my first entry was back here. And remember, I had a buy here, that small first $27 loss because I had a buy here, got in on 2, had a sell there. Well, then I reversed my buy and put on, it created a sell order of 2, right? I just reversed it. And then I was in short, and then the news candle took me out. So again, it wicked up and took me out. I had a little slippage there, lost 79 on that. Okay, without the slippage, and without that candle wicking up, if that candle would not have wicked up, because my stop was here, then it would not have taken me out, and that would have been another profitable trade. The 2 here would have been another profitable trade. So it just happened to wick up. I didn't have a partial close set. If I would have had a partial close set, I could have possibly, if it shut down first, it was so quick. I don't remember if it shot down and up just in those few seconds or what. But that, without the news, would have been a profitable trade. Okay, then I got in on this one, sold off 2 on that sell signal. Why did I only sell off 2? It's like, Butch, why did you only sell off 2? Well, because it was right after the news candle. We don't know what's going to happen. There's no guarantee that it was going to move this short all day long, right? So I got in light with 2. That was my third entry short. Or second short, but third entry. Bought 2 here, sold 2 here, sold 2 here on the sell signal. And that sat negative for a while. But we drew a retracement line from this low to this low. And then when it went through and broke, I stacked on 2 more. Okay, taking that to 4. Still, I considered it still risky. Again, it's before the stock market opened. However, the Forex market's open. And we're running off a news release. So a little riskier trade. We stack on only 2. So I have 4 on. And then, boom, a sell signal comes up. And I say, okay, cool, I'm going to hold. That gives me a little more confirmation. Moves sideways, pulls back a little, another sell. Gives me more confirmation. It comes down. Ultimately, I sold 3 of the 4 here. Okay, had 1 runner on. Then comes over here. I put 6 on here. And then we closed. Oh, I put 6 on here, and then I put 3 on here. So 6 on this candle. It went down. When it came back, I stacked 3 more on. So now we have 10. 1 runner from up here, 6 on, 3 on. So have 10. And then when it pulled down here, closed out 9. Left 1 runner on. 1 runner on, came back, pulled back up. My 1 runner closed. Okay, because I pulled my stop, kind of tight. 1 runner closed. And then I put on 7 here when it broke that retracement line. Comes down, closed out 6 here. Why did I close out 6 there? Because there's no guarantee that it was going to come way down here. You're not guaranteed that. So I see profit, I'm going to take profit, because what's my job for the day? To make profit, take profit, make money. Ultimately went down, came back up, drew a retracement line. It broke the retracement line. What I do is sold off another 6 and closed 6 here before the inside bottom. And then it did go beyond it just to touch the low. Didn't quite even get to the bottom, that wick. Got close, and then it's feathered back. So I like where the stop is. I'm going to leave this for the rest of the day. So again, so far for the day for me, we had that, whatever it was, 585. I think that's what it was. 588. So I'm happy with that on the day. I hit my goal of 500. Okay. So hit my goal of 500, and we got 588. What does that mean? Well, we got 88 bonus. Okay. So my goal for the day on this account's 500. We got 588. That gives me a bonus of 88 to start tomorrow, or that's my bonus. So if I come out shy tomorrow, let's say I only get 420 tomorrow. So I get 420 tomorrow. Well, I got 88 from today. 80 from today. The bonus, the extra 80 from today, can stack on tomorrow, and that would give me 500. Now, right now where my stop is, I might take a loss. Okay? I have a potential of a little loss where my stop is. But I don't want to pull it to break even. Because you guys can see, if I pull my stop down here to break even, I might get stopped out pretty quick, as it's bouncing right here between this low and where my order sits. Okay, keep in mind the order moved down as we closed out trades. Okay, so I like where the stop is, and I'll leave it. If you look at where price is right now, if we come in here and look at where price is, right, we got 54 on there, and there's 54 here. So right here, if you come down and bring the tool, when it was down here at 54, it said like $20, $25, I think. So basically I'm measuring. All right, right there, 55, and it was like $25. And if you come up here, we're at 52. So basically I'm going to lose back $25 if it stops me out. So I'm fine with that. Make sure that your quantity, since it says one contract here on your order, make sure this one says one contract on your stop before you walk away from the computer, because you don't want a catastrophe. And I'm fine with that. So I've got 88 extra dollars on today's trading, which gives me that part of that monthly bonus. I count that as a monthly bonus that we could draw from to cover some losses. So I don't need to cover losses today. The losses have been covered today. I've got 588 total, even after those small losses, the $27 one, the $79 one. It's a great day on trading. Everything worked out great today. This is picture perfect with these two retracements right here. Everything really today was picture perfect. Even on this right here where it broke through and we went sideways. It went sideways, but it was under a 4-hour support resistance level. Okay? Picture perfect. Then it broke, come down to what? A 4-hour support resistance level. Okay? Retrace back. And then broke the retracement line. Again, picture perfect. And what did it do after that? It fell back to the 4-hour level and went beyond. Where did it turn? Turned at the bottom of a 4-hour zone. I hope you're seeing some sort of pattern. It's the 4-hour levels, okay? Even up here, it was bouncing around a 4-hour support resistance level. Hit the bottom of the 4-hour zone, pulled back. What's it doing? It's retracing, broke the retracement line. Picture perfect, because it pulled back down afterwards. And it just tested the bottom. We're moving sideways. So far, but see, it's 11 o'clock. So you should be thinking about ending the day, okay? Your trade was from 9:33 if you're trading this strategy, and it's now 11 o'clock. So 2.5 hours and you're done, okay? Now, for me, it was a little longer because I got in over here, but I started looking. I didn't come to the computer until 8:15. 8:20, but I was actually in that first trade before then. So I started looking at 7:30. So for me, it was 7:30. So 3.5 hours, and we're done. We've got the 500, and then we have an 88 bonus. We have a $25 potential loss if we don't move our stop to break even. I will move my stop to break even if it breaks this low. So if it breaks down through the bottom of the zone, especially if it comes back to test it and then gives us a little bounce with a red candle, I'll pull my stop to break even. So I'm done for the day. I'm going to cut off the video, get it uploaded, and basically we'll come back tomorrow and do this. And we're already up for the week, so that's good. And done for the day. Hope you enjoyed. Take care. Safe trading. Remember, stick your rules, write them down. If you can't remember your rules or change things on the fly, set them up on your charts.